We are here. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, today we're back on the John Mayaki Show. Thank you for joining us on this exciting episode of the John Mayaki Show once more. We're glad to have you on this show. Okay. We're going to be discussing some issues already troubling the polity, starting from tackling the emerging corruption in the animal kingdom. There seems to be this issue of corruption we have seen in the animal kingdom. We've seen from snake to monkey. Snake some times ago took some money and embezzled it. We also had the situation of monkey also embezzling money. We're going to be discussing it. Don't forget that recently we got termite confiscating documents, vouchers, documents, evidence that money were paid. Termites also got hold of them and confiscated them. Is that not interesting? And so this represents a fresh challenge on the fight of corruption on the president and the anti-corruption agencies. We are going to look at the continuous jibe on former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress. There's the deputy governor of Edo State, who all the time says, Comrade Adam Sushomole is my father. He taught me good governance. He taught me labor unionism. He taught me how to, I'm not sure if he also taught him on how to ride Okada and go and look for trouble somewhere. I'm not too sure of all the things he taught him, but we're going to look at all the jibe, all the taunts he normally will make against his well, if you call him Godfather, that is okay. We are going to look at the mockery of Labour Party candidate. Do you know that kidnappers, terrorists, sent a letter to Kaduna State Governor, and they told him, look, Mr. Governor, we are coming for you, we are going to kidnap you. Mr. Governor, you are not alone in this kidnap arrangement. The president is also part of it. And so the governor ran to the president and said, look, Mr. Governor, Mr. President, these guys are here, they want to kidnap me, they want to kill me. Mr. President, you need to help me. But that is not the issue. That is not a serious one. Don't forget that these same terrorists also in the same state, Kaduna State, they've been kidnapping a lot of people, including setting up a parallel government in that state. And the governor is saying, oh, they've set up a parallel government, they now have their own administration, they may have their money very soon, and their own currency, and all of those. This governor was quick. Instead of him to tackle the security situation in the state, he was quick to taunt the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, to say, oh, you guys are planning 2 million man march in my state. I just laugh at you guys. The governor didn't laugh at the criminals who planned to kidnap him, but he had enough time to laugh at a presidential candidate who doesn't even mean any harm to him. Is that not interesting? And so we're going to be looking at all those issues. All those issues we're going to deal with it. So if you are there going to watch us today on the John Mayaki Show, the lines to call are there. Call us and share your thoughts with us on all of this. But don't forget, there's another issue we're going to discuss. There's this protest in Benin about 2-3 days ago on, market guys, market women, Uwelu guys, pepper dealers along Ring Road, along Ubowo, Lagos Road, Vareke. They protested. They said, no, this bad road, we can't bear it again. We can't bear. This is not a federal road again. If you say, oh, Saple Road is a federal road, but Mr. Governor, this one is not a federal road. Mr. Governor, come to our aid. I think they protested. But more importantly on this show, we're going to be seeing there seems to be a betrayal in the palace of the Benin Kingdom, a betrayal of some sort. We listened to a Professor Benson Osadolo, on TVC the other day saying, so somebody is frustrating the effort of the palace to in the repatriation and in the recovery of artifacts. And the professor was very, very emphatic that somebody somewhere is frustrating the effort of the federal government and the palace to repatriate this artifact back to Nigeria. Anyway, last week we were told that tertiary termites ate up over 7 billion expenditure. I mean, evidence at the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, NSITF, I mean in their office, documents used as evidence for the spending of over 17 billion naira some few years ago. And I'm sure you will recall how snake, how monkey reportedly ate or took money some few years ago, and now it is the turn of termites. I suspect very strongly that ants, agama lizards, and some other reptiles and some other animals in the animal kingdom are strategizing on how to launch their own attack or for their pie of the national cake. I strongly suspect. I also suspect there is an ongoing protest or riot in the animal kingdom over the decision of monkey, over the decision, I mean unilateral decision. Monkey, you can't try this. Snake, you can't do it. Even termite, you took this decision alone to loot the nation's country without carrying us along. You can't do that. You can't. So there's a protest that, in fact, likely there's a serious probe in the animal kingdom, if you like. Let's come back home. The Senate Public Accounts Committee is currently investigating the past and present administration of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund following their inability to provide the necessary and documents that justify the alleged spending of over 17 billion, specifically 17.15 billion in 2013. The current managing director of NSITF, Dr. Michael Akabogu, was reported to have said that they were no longer in custody of such documents. Listen to this. He said they were no longer in custody of such documents, as in that the containers used in storing them were not only beaten by the rain over time, but have also been eaten up by termites. Quite interesting. I think this guy who was saying all of this, if he gets back home and the children ask him, Daddy, is it true you said so? What will he say? Daddy, did you say termites? Were you quoted wrongly, or you mean termites? They ate up? Oh no, Daddy, you didn't try. Daddy, you didn't. So, however, I think there's something strange in Nigeria's economy. Our animals have been making away with huge sums of money in this country, and you think this is euphemism? I don't think so. When a team of auditors recently tried to check the account of the Nigerian Exam Board for public universities, 36 million could not be accounted for. A clerk reported that the money had been stolen from the vault by a snake, which swallowed it. I mean, is that not interesting? I mean, it's very interesting times here. A snake. Look, I'm afraid if some guys are not planning to turn into snake, into ant, agama lizard, monkey, so that they can have access to money, because it seems it's the easiest way to money now. Then in February, some other time in February, a senator defending a colleague accused of misappropriating funds. He suggested that a missing 70 million was carted away by monkeys on the senator's farm. I mean, that is another one. I mean, it's good. These stories are not mere reflection of strange evolutionary behavior. No. They highlight the profound corruption problems that exist in our country, Nigeria. I mean, Mr. Idris Zekari today will be joining us. He's our analyst. He will be joining us to analyze this issue. Mr. Idris, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you once again for having me here. Thank you.
You see the situation we are facing in the country. What can you make of this?
Well, it's not a laughing matter. Although I've been laughing, I couldn't hold it. But on a serious note, like you just very intelligently crystallized some of those issues. There was an instance where snake swallowed money in jam. There was another instance where a lion ate some money in a zoo in Kano. The zookeeper alleged that, no, it was not a lion, it was an ape that looted 6.5 million naira in the zoo to the zoo during the Eid el-Kabir in Kano. There was also the instance of the 70 million that was stolen in a senator's farm. Senator Abdullahi Adamu, the present national APC chairman, monkeys looted 70 million in his farm. And till today, the Nigerian police is handicapped to arrest and prosecute those monkeys. Then we also had this recent instance. I think this is the biggest in the heist by members of the animal kingdom, where documents that was used to spend 17 billion 150 million was eaten up, was gobbled up. And I believe when they were eating it, they also took bottles of champagne, because you can't eat 17 billion and not drink champagne on top of it. We're eaten up by termites. I mean, today in Abuja, we have the richest termites in the world. You can't doubt it. They are the most well-fed, most empowered termites in the world. Termites that ate up 17 billion of invoices of our national expenditure. Like you rightly said, for you to have any kind of access to economic empowerment in Nigeria today, you have to be a member of the animal kingdom. Yeah. Don't forget that sometime 2018, rats, a group of rats, united among themselves and achieved what the youth of Nigeria and NSAS protesters could not achieve. They drove the president out of his office.
Okay. Oh, yes, that is true.
Yes. So this is, a reflection of the competence that the animal kingdom have displayed, that those of us in the human kingdom have not been able to display. Yeah. The Homo sapiens is the highest form of evolution. Humans are the Homo sapiens, but you are seeing the competence of the Homo erectus, that's the apes and the monkeys, you see on both sides. Then you are seeing those of the snakes, you are seeing those of the rats. I mean, the rat chased the president out, and they had to spend some billions combating the rat. Let me not exaggerate, some millions combating the rats so that they will put them at bay. Even the bandits and the AK-47 that threatened to kidnap the president could not access the president. But rats drove the president out of his office. So this is where we have found ourselves, and it is a shame that animals have taken over in Nigeria. But on a more serious note, it goes to underpin the quantum of corruption, the quantum of civil service corruption. Usually when we talk of corruption, we look at the political elites. But these recent occurrences goes to underpin the collusion between the civil service, the civil servants, and the political class in looting this country blind, in removing the resources of this country, in appropriating the resources of this country, should I say misappropriating and expropriating the resources of this country to their personal and selfish interest. And guess what? The anti-corruption Caesar, the man we voted based on his credentials as an anti-corruption Caesar, based on his no-nonsense credentials, Muhammadu Buhari in 2015, is completely bereft of ideas on what to do. That is where we are. We can only but lament the situation. And then I think it's time for Nigerians to unite, to call a press conference and appeal to the animal kingdom. We are dying of economic starvation. Humans are dying of economic starvation. Humans in Nigerians are incapacitated by the economy. Animals should not be eating so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. But let me quickly correct that the national chairman of the APC you mentioned was in the PDP when that incident happened. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was in the PDP as a PDP senator.
Okay.
Yes. So
and the snake, the monkey, the rat.
He looted 70 million from his farm.
Yes, the snake, the monkey, the rat are all PDP era. It is in the APC era we have these termites.
Yes.
Okay.
The snake, the monkey, and the snake, the monkey, and which other one?
The rat.
I think even lion the ape in Kano.
Yes,
are during the
yes.
The termites now is during the APC era. However, what the termites are eating in this APC era completely dwarfs a combination of everything that the snake, the monkey, and even the lion ate in the PDP era. So you see, both political parties are what I call a demonic duopoly. That is it.
Okay, we are not going to degenerate to casting our aspersion on the political parties per se. It is a Nigerian problem. Corruption is a Nigerian problem. I mean, second problem, if not the major problem of everybody. I used to tell you that we are all complicit. Everybody is complicit. I used to say it that no. Are you aware that just by the wayside, electricity workers are on strike, and we've gone to run gen throughout our lives, throughout whenever they decide to go back to work, we'll keep running gen. And the fuel, well, we thank God, a country where we have the crude, but we import it. We can't refine. The refineries are there. We are not ready to fix them. They are there. Then electricity for how many years? Assuming just from 1999, when we had democracy, till date, our leaders are unable to fix our electricity issues. I mean, wonderful leaders, great leaders. I mean, if you condemn them, they say no. They've tried. If it's your business in your house, will you run it this way? That is the question I used to ask. Just have 2 minutes to comment on this, Zachary.
Yes, right. In way back in I think in the 70s, Shagari borrowed $1 million. Then $80 million. Today's money around $1 billion to generate 1,000 megawatts. Today, Nigeria is owing $42 billion, and there's nothing to show for it. The 4,000 megawatts we were generating around 1999, generating and distributing, is what we are generating and distributing in 2022, 23 years later. By next year to be 24. So how else do you convince me that we are not in a serious problem we don't have a serious leadership problem, both in times of boom and in times of doom. In the oil sector you mentioned now, we are the only country in the world in the class of our own who produces oil. Used to be the 7th biggest producer. I think we are a little lower now. That cannot refine its crude. So what we do is look at the wisdom in this. Or should I say foolishness in this? We explore our oil, ship it abroad, refine it abroad, bring it back to Nigeria, and government will pay subsidy on the finished product. So we sell for cheap and bring in the finished goods. How else? I don't. In fact, I just think maybe we should just restrict ourselves to the topics of today. It's heartbreaking.
Okay.
That we have to go around this over and over and over again.
It's okay. Let's leave it at that. After all, we can't finish solving these problems on this program. Okay, just as we are yet to grapple with the corruption issue that we're discussing in the country, some persons have constituted themselves as stumbling block to the return of the stolen artifacts scheduled to be returned into the country. In fact, some persons are working to frustrate the effort of the federal government at the palace of the Oba of Benin, Omonoba Nedo Kwapolopolo, the Oba of Benin, to thwart their efforts be made to return the artifacts or build the proposed museum. I'm sure you are aware of that. Things are not going according to plans. There is this betrayal somewhere. And this is the question Professor Benson Osadolo of the University of Benin is asking. Who is frustrating the proposed return of the artifact? Who exactly is doing that? And why the betrayal? There's a betrayal somewhere. Did you watch TVC the other day? Have you watched that video, Zachary?
I watched the interview, and just to say that when I first, as an Edo man, when I came to Benin, the first thing you will know about the average Benin person is the respect they have for the Omonoba Neduko Abolopolo. In Benin, the Oba is next to God. As a matter of fact, to some persons, the Oba is God. And normally there's a popular street in Benin called Aigoba Simi. What that means is you don't drag with the Oba, you don't contest with the Oba. But what we have seen in the last few months to few years is a contestation with the palace by a government that only has a limited time to serve. Don't forget, the palace of the Oba of Benin, the seat, the stool of the Oba of Benin, is forever till the Oba decides to join his ancestors. But a governor or a government is transient, at best 8 years. What is the story behind this? The British looted the Benin Kingdom and burnt part of it, up to half of it, to the ground. The history is out there for anybody who wants to study. And took away artifacts and deities. Now, these artifacts are not just work of art. These artifacts, as we now know, have spiritual implication, carry some of the spiritual significance to the Benin people. And the custodian of the spirituality of Benin is the Oba of Benin. Now, having many years down the line, about 120 years down the line, having realized the error of taking the spiritual items, spiritual deities, work of arts, work of spirituality of the Benin people. These British have sold these artifacts across the world. It was looted by the British. It was sold part to the Netherlands, parts to Germany, parts to the USA, and elsewhere. There is now this concerted effort, started by the former governor of Edo State and some other persons, including Professor Benson Zadolo, to return some of these artifacts back, if not all of the artifacts, back to their home, their original abode. And this effort has been ongoing. Just when we are beginning to see signs of commitment from the British, the Germans, and elsewhere to return this artifact, we are beginning to have this internal sabotage. The only place I am unhappy with the interview with the Professor Benson Salolo interview was very eye-opening. The only place I am not happy about is that he fell short of mentioning the name of the person who is trying to sabotage this laudable effort to return the Benin artifact to their original abode.
He may not know them. He may not know their name, but he suspects there's a sabotage. He may not know their name.
There is an agreement. There was an agreement by the Edo State government, the Palace of the Oba of Benin, the Federal Ministry of Arts and Culture, the National Council for Museums and Monuments, to set up, and in fact, the British, the Germans, and those who have this artifact, to set up a Benin museum. They call it Benin Royal Museum, just close to the Palace of the Oba of Benin, so that these artifacts can be displayed there. People from around the world can come and see them. On top of that, the British, having realized, the British, the Germans, the Europeans, let me use the word Europeans that for convenience, having realized their errors, are also supposed to pay reparation because they caused untold damage to the ancient Benin Kingdom that was one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient times. They are supposed to pay a certain reparation, monies back to this kingdom to help in building this museum and help in properly resettling some of this work of art and work of spirituality. Only for the governor and his part to set up a legacy restoration group backed by Edo State government and Edo State governor, and they are now planning to set up an Edo State Museum for West African Arts, which is alien to the original arrangement to set up a Benin Royal Museum. All these were put to the front burner by Professor Benson Osadolo. What I think we should be doing now is to call on all well-meaning Benin people and Edolites, and indeed Edolites, to join their voice in calling on the governor to remove his hands from the looted Benin artifacts. The looted Benin artifacts are sole property. They are owned by the Palace of the Oba of Benin, and he holds them in trust for the Benin people. They don't belong to all Edo people. They belong to the Palace of the Oba of Benin. So those artifacts ought to be returned to the Palace of the Oba of Benin, so that everybody
who wants to see them can go to the Benin Royal Museum to see them. Emowa is alien to Edo people. There are so many things that Edo money can be spent on. Not building another museum and naming it Emowa with the intention of relooting artifacts that were already looted by the British with a plan to return. And as a government, you want to reloot it again.
Okay.
Relooting looted artifacts.
Okay.
It's a shame, and I think Edo people have been too quiet on this issue. It's time for people to speak up. Nobody will fight this fight. The palace of the Oba of Benin, and of course, the person of the Oba of Benin is a very reserved person. He will not likely come on media to talk. He will not start, writing, creating crisis.
All right.
As a culture of the Benin people, is a peaceful man.
We'll leave it there.
People are the who should take up these responsibilities and engage the government on the viability, on the sensibilities of Emowa, and completely find ways to set it aside so that this artifact can be returned. I read in the newspaper.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back. Let's take this brief break, a commercial break. When we come back, we'll discuss more on the Benin artifact. Please stay with us. All right. Thank you. For those of you joining us on the John Mayaki Show, the lines to call if you want to join the discussion are displayed on the screen. Call us and share your thoughts with us. The lines to call are there. Call us, join us to discuss the issue. Monkey, lizards, agama lizards, termites, rats, and all of those are also having their share of the loot in the country. Boko Haram guys are having their own. Terrorists are having their own. Everybody just want to have, even rats. There's a protest somewhere in the animal kingdom. And then you then come back to the issue of the return artifacts, no return artifacts. Let's take a listen to this video by Professor Benson Usadolo on TVC, and we'll come back to the issues.
In concert with the British Museum and nets, in which the Royal Court of Benin was completely sidelined. The owners of the artifacts, they were completely sidelined. And what I read in the papers, and I find it very disgusting, is that the MOWA project was now inviting the Oba of Benin as a partner. And then, see, they wanted a partnership with the British Museum, those who that looted the heritage, so that they can re-loot it again. And it's wrong. Our thinking, our own views about all of this is that the Benin Royal Museum which was the initial concept arising from the Netherlands Conference of 2018, should continue to be the custodians of these artifacts. The MOA project should run on its own lane and not be the custodian of these royal arts of Benin. It belongs to the Royal Court of Benin, the Oba of Benin. In fact, the artworks were made by the royal command of the Oba. So it does not belong to the MOA. It does not belong to Ajayi Associates. It does not belong to Legacy Restoration Trust. It belongs to the Royal Court of Benin. To try to say they are inviting the Oba of Benin to be partners in the custodianship of these artifacts is an insult. It's an attempt to humiliate the institution of monarchy in Benin City. And many people are already saying, no, that's wrong. We should understand the Benin tradition, understand the Benin history, understand the Benin culture, and respect it. No one is against their project. They can run their project the way they want to run it, but not begin to humiliate the Royal Court of Benin because of this project. We stand by the decisions of the proposals of Netherlands Conference of 2018 to build the Benin Royal Museum, and that is our concern. This was supported by the conference in Benin in 2019. That is our concern. If by 2021 and 2022 there's a MOA project, is out of the way. The MOA is not part of the ownership of this royal arts of Benin. So please, I don't understand why some individuals are worried about who keeps them or does not keep them. They are the property of the Oba of Benin, and they should go straight to the Benin Royal Museum. They have agreed to build this museum in 2018 within 3 years. But today, the project is yet to take off. So what has happened? Are there individuals frustrating the palace or frustrating the Benin Royal Museum or frustrating the effort to repatriate these objects and pay restitution to the palace of the Royal Benin? Are there individuals? If there are, what is their goal? You are asking the owner of the property to become a partner with you. My brother, that's an insult. You're about Benin. We won't tolerate it. Doesn't really matter what it means. There's a sense of betrayal with this new development. The Omonoba of Benin, Oba Ewari II, has been betrayed. Because from the very beginning, we all agreed that there will be a Benin Royal Museum. Then why the sudden change? That is betrayal.
All right.
That can also lead to mistrust and distrust. Listen carefully. Mistrust and distrust among people who think that they have the power to do whatever they want to do. All power in government today is temporary.
Yes, Mr. Zachary, did you listen to that?
Yes, I took listen to that, and yeah, I mean, what stands out is that the insult to the palace of the Oba of Benin to come and join a private group set up by private individuals for private interest, a business enterprise, Legacy Restoration Trust, that the palace, the Benin, the monarchy in Benin, should come and partner with a group that is alien to Benin, that I hear now is headed by a non-Edo, is an insult of immense proportion. And this being backed by a governor of Benin extraction.
How do you know the governor? How do you know the governor is backing it up? You can't tell.
Yeah, one of the pictures I was showed there, the major promoters I have seen on TV, I have seen videos. One of the prime promoters of Emoa is Governor Godwin Obaseki. It is there. It's there in public domain. I mean, you can't deny it. I am hoping that the governor can even come out and deny that he has no hand in Emoa. Let us even agree that he comes out and deny, so that this thing can end immediately. The artifacts can be returned to the original owners immediately. But clearly, he has interest in Emoa. That's why he's supporting. And take note that some of these artifacts are now worth billions in dollars. Some of this artwork, because of the value, because of the time, because of the historical perspective of some of these artifacts, they are now worth billions. And you want to expropriate the property of the Benin people, held in custody by the Oba of Benin, expropriate it to a private legacy trust. Whose interest is that trust serving? That is the question.
The governor is a proud son of Benin land. No, you say what?
I don't think the Benin people will be so proud anymore to have him as a proud son of the Benin land, fighting the palace to expropriate the properties of the palace.
No, nobody can fight the palace. No, nobody can fight the palace. You know what happened in the past. If anybody fights the palace, but that is even by the wayside. Don't forget that a United States civil rights organization, they call themselves a restitution group, has warned against the return of the Benin bronze to Nigeria. You know, they said because according to them now, it will benefit the descendants. It will benefit the descendants of African slave traders. That is their own excuse. If you read, the report is in the Telegraph. Telegraph is a foreign newspaper. It was quoted in the Punch newspaper today. I read that today, that a group in the US have written letter, and that the restitution study group, they did that through a letter warning the commission that the Kingdom of Benin will be enriched by the return of the artifacts. The letter said they are asking that the request be rejected to Nigeria and the Benin Palace. Maybe the governor inclusive, I don't know. The Kingdom of Benin, according to them, through Nigeria, will be unjustly enriched by repatriation of these relics. That is what they are saying. And that black people do not support slave trade. I mean, slave traders. If you are there, Zachary, you can rejoin us again. The guys in the US are saying black people do not support slave trader heirs because they are black. They are saying that Nigeria and the Kingdom of Benin have never apologized for enslaving our ancestors. That is what they are saying. And that they are asking that the UK or the Europeans should not approve the transfer of these relics. The group said the artifacts should remain in Western museums so that descendants of slaves can learn about slave trade. In the US, so that they can learn about slave trade instead of the items getting returned to the descendants of slave traders. They are also saying that they want France, they want the UK, they want the US and other museums to know that they should keep the Benin bronze for the real victims, the descendants of the enslaved who paid for them with their lives, not the slave traders' descendants. The issue is taking a new dimension, Mr. Zachary. You can see what we are saying. You see, if there's no crack in the wall, the lizard will have no place to hide. This issue is taking a fresh dimension, and it is a dangerous one that we must watch. Is there a connivance somewhere? Why the sudden emergency group from the US? What is it? Well, did you listen to Professor Osadolo? He said he suspects betrayal. He said somebody somewhere is trying to thwart the efforts of the federal government, of the Oba of Benin. Something is happening. Who is thwarting the efforts of His Royal Majesty? As we come to, as you see these dynamics, Mr. Zachary, what will you say? What is your take?
When there's a crack in the wall, that lizards will enter. There are two perspectives to the point you just raised now, raised by that group in the US. And that is number one, the perspective that people from home, there are people now that we have mentioned on this show, you have to use your tongue to count your teeth because of legal implications of making certain statements. Like we have rightly mentioned on this show, if there is if the witch cried last night and the baby died this morning, who killed the baby? Or apparently it's the witch. There's a proverb that says that. So if those who have been trying to sabotage the return of these artifacts to the Benin Royal Museum and by extension to the Benin Palace, the Oba of Benin, and by extension the Benin Royal Museum, you can easily finger them in this new attempt to rewrite the narrative that by returning this artifact, they are going to enrich the Benin Kingdom and by so doing enrich people who dealt on slaves. Look, can you imagine people who bought slaves and used slaves now determining who should benefit from some of the loots that came from their own plumage? They are the ones who invaded this city and plundered this city. They want to now determine who will benefit and who will not benefit. It is the rat in the house that is already telling the rat abroad that there is food in the house. That is the simple analogy. It is the rat, let me repeat it for emphasis. It is the rat in the house, the Emoa rat, that is telling those who are in the restoration group that returning those artifacts will enrich Benin Kingdom. And the question I want to ask Benin people today is, who is supposed to be enriched by the Benin artifacts? Is it not the owners of the artifacts? And the owners of the artifact is the Benin Kingdom and the Oba of Benin. So we should find a way to cure the rat in the house. If we successfully do that, those artifacts will come back.
Okay, I pray this rat here, they don't also eat part of, you see, the issue of rat, monkey, and agama lizards and termites is the same rat we are going. This is the same issue of rats, no problem. Mr. Zekari, look at this issue from this perspective. If you're watching us, call us and share your thought with us on the issue we are discussing today. Mr. Zekari, let's leave that for another day. If we can deepen that discussion sometimes again. Why not look at this issue where in the political scene, the national chairman of the APC, former governor of Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshomole, is being buffeted here and there whenever his godson, the deputy governor of Edo State, goes to an occasion. He said, my godfather is my godfather. I'm proud of him. He's my father. He is my father. I'm proud of him. He taught me how to laugh. He taught me how to be nice. He taught me how to ride on Okada and drive to my godfather's village and declare a war. I mean, it taught me. I mean, have you seen that video? Have you seen a recent one, Mr. Zekari? What do you make of that?
Well, it's important that we go back a little bit in history. It was said that Philip Shaibu was already constituting His Excellency Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu.
It's comrade. It's a comrade. Add comrade to. It's a comrade. Is it not a comrade? Don't deny him of comradeship.
Philip Shaibu was already constituting nuisance in Jetu when his parents, having known Oshomole was already making exploit in the labor movement, sent him to even live with Adams Oshomole in Kaduna and subsequently in Abuja. And he sat under Adams Oshomole and went through the tutelage of Adams Oshomole. The biggest beneficiary of Adams Oshomole today in Nigeria is Comrade Philip Shaibu. Adams Oshomole was so influential in his life that at every step of the way, whether it was when he became factional NANS president, whether it was when he wanted to run for Edo State House of Assembly under ANPP, then when he was in PDP, he has always had the support of Comrade Adams Oshomole. Eventually in 2007, when Adams Oshomole wanted to become governor, he also picked form to run for the State House of Assembly. And on the back of Adams Oshomole, they won those elections. As governor, Adams Oshomole, he was the majority leader of the State House of Assembly and by effect, the liaison officer between the assembly and the governor's office. And for those who were close to that government, will know that Philip Shaibu was one of the most powerful persons, if not the most powerful person in that government. In 2016, when the government, no, when it's 2016 now, in 2016 years, 2012, 2014, 2015, 2016, when Obaseki was running for governor, it is credited that Adams Oshomole will single-handedly influenced the nomination of Philip Shaibu as deputy governor to Godwin Obaseki. The fallout started when, after failing woefully first term in office, and Edo people, some Edo persons were not satisfied, the APC was not satisfied as a party, he decided to split from his father of many years. That is not even the bone of contention here. I mean, politics, you can split at any time. He has now gone on to, at every occasion and opportunity, insult Adams Oshomole, who is his father. When I say his father, I'm not just talking of political godfather. His father, a man who put him in his house, fed him, clothed him, and groomed him to the man he is today. As he has called him mentally deranged, he has said that he has mental issues, he has called him all sorts of names, he has insulted him. I'm talking of blunt, straightforward insult that he, Philip Shaibu, will not tolerate if some other younger persons are insulting him. It is a shame that you call a man, from the same mouth, you call a man your father, and then from that same mouth you begin to denigrate and insult. This is not political criticism now. I'm talking about insult. This same man who you have publicly declared as your father. It is a shame. It shows an adult in a baby's body, a man who was not raised properly, and a man, I don't know the kind of example he's setting for his own sons. I don't know if he's trying to let his sons know that it is okay, due to political disagreement, to begin to insult your father at every opportunity. It is a shame. It is not the character of those of us who may do not. We respect our adults, even if we disagree with them politically. I have never supported him politically, but I have never had the cause to insult him. Why should I? If there are political issues, we discuss them at the level of political discussion. But he has taken it a notch higher and has continued to insult and denigrate Adams Oshomole. The truth is, whatever you sow, whatever a man soweth, he will reap. He himself will become 70-something someday. And there will be a younger politician who will do to him exactly what is due to Adams Oshomole. And when that time comes, may God keep all of us alive, because some of us will be there to remind him how he treated the man who, without him, he would have maybe been in Jetu today chasing rat and antelope.
You have come back to this your rat issue again. Please, let's leave the rats alone. There's a riot already in the animal kingdom. All right. Before we go to some other issues, assuming you see Philip Shaibu and the former national chairman of the APC in the same party tomorrow, what will you make out of that? You see them in the same party. There is no permanent enemy in politics, permanent interest. If you see them together tomorrow.
In politics, there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy. You only have permanent interest. I agree. Tomorrow, politically, due to political exigencies, they may come back to be in the same party. It is not an unfounded thinking. However, the words you have said to Adams Oshomole today, can you remove them? When you publicly said that he has mental issue, that he's beginning to run mad, you said it on national TV.
And that he must take excuse before coming to Benin.
That it's time for you to go and to call some of the other children so that you can, arrest him, or more like restrict him so that he does not hurt himself because he's having mental issues. He said it on TV. So you can play politics together tomorrow, but what you have said to him, you can never unsay. That is the truth. Do you think
Governor Obaseki can, in his heart of hearts, trust the deputy governor that if you can do this to the man you call your father, and today you are, do you see mutual suspicion? Do you think the governor can trust him?
Nemesis will start coming in the year 2024, the next Edo governorship election.
2023.
That I am aware that Comrade Philip Shaibu is interested in being governor. As a matter of fact, his father that is insulting every day now was propping him and priming him to one day be governor. Look at the way he has treated a man who raised him as a boy. Look at the way he has treated him. Who else will trust that kind of a person? It is clear. And when that time comes, we will see how Governor Godwin Obaseki will also treat him. Because if you do it to somebody that has been such a benefactor to you, that raised you from nothing, it means you can also do it to even Godwin Obaseki. People underrate the importance of trust in politics. We cannot live without trust. And if somebody does not trust you, there's nothing that person can do with you.
Okay, now there's this protest here and there in Benin. The other day it was Sapele Road, where the governor promised last year that he was going to fix. The road has not been fixed. Now we talk about Evareke Market, we talk of Ubowo Road, we talk several roads. There was this protest. Did you follow that up? Well, what was it about?
Just to quickly straighten that out, for want of maybe time, there is Wasota Road that leads to Uwelu Spare Parts Market. And as part of the stormwater project of the last administration, the Adams Oshomole administration in Edo State, some of those roads were captured in the Uwelu catchment area for stormwater projects. Some of those roads were not done then because the flooding of that area needed to be channeled to the big stormwater drains that were built around Uwelu. If you go to Uwelu, you see some of those drains there. However, it was meant to be a continuum. In fact, at the pace that the last administration was going, it was going to take about 100 years to fully drain Benin City, since Benin City was on a floodplain. What we had in the last 6 years of Obaseki administration is a complete abandonment of that laudable project of the stormwater project. Today, some of the gains, initial gains of that stormwater project are being reversed. People are not able to go to work now when it rains. Uwasota is there, blocked. Uwelu Spare Parts Market is flooded. Adolo Junction is flooded. Tom Line is flooded. Pipe Junction is now flooded again. So it is a disgrace that the government did not continue where their predecessor stopped. And I mean, this kind of a setback, you can imagine how long it will take to recover the momentum that was built over time. So I think the suffering is just beginning. People will have to keep protesting. People will have to keep engaging the government so that at the end of the day, we can make certain progress with some of these projects. Otherwise, a time will come when it rains, you just have to stay in your house and go out.
Okay, now finally on the show, quickly let us look at it. Our people will say the chukuchuku in my leg did not allow me to remove the chukuchuku in my eye, as in because of the crisis, the abundance of crisis around here, I am unable to do the other assignment. Terrorists said they will kidnap the governor of Kaduna State, whereas some boys, politically, some boys said, oh, we are going to do a rally, 2 million man march in Kaduna State. The governor said, no, this is not the Kaduna of my state. You can't do that. In fact, you cannot even have 200 people. It's like when they were building the wall of Jericho, and Sambala, Tobiah and Co, they said, no, this wall, you guys are not serious. If a rat jump on top of this wall will fall down. And look at the governor of Kaduna State, says, no, you can't have 200 people to protest here. I mean, except you import people. Whereas kidnappers and terrorists are planning to kidnap him. What do you make of this?
But just quickly, there are two aspects to it. There is the mockery aspect and there is the xenophobic aspect.
Yeah.
Now, the mockery aspect, he tried to denigrate the obedient movement who are planning a 2 million man march in Kaduna by telling them that they cannot even get 200 persons in Kaduna to march with them, as opposed to even getting 2 million. For a man who has been completely overwhelmed by bandits and terrorists, as of today, there are certain areas where people pay their taxes to bandits and terrorists. They no longer pay to the Kaduna state government where it's head. There are some areas that are now complete. The bandits and terrorists now have local government chairmen, ward councillors, they now have administrators, they now have spiritual leaders in certain areas. A governor who has been overwhelmed at home is throwing jab to people abroad. The xenophobic part is when he said the only way they can get 200 people is to go and import people who have closed their shops on Monday, making a vague reference to the southeast where IPOP have been having Monday sit-at-homes where they close shops, that they have to go and bring, in this case, Igbo boys. That's what he meant by saying they will go and bring those who close their shops on Monday. Is indirectly exposing Easterners in the state to attack and to injury. And for a man again who has been who cannot even deal with the bandit in his own backyard. I just learned now that a big man, one of the big men in Kaduna, has left his multi-million naira mansion where there is swimming pool, where there is gardener, where there's everything, to go and rent a 3-bedroom flat in the heart of the city. For fear, kidnappers have missed him twice. He was not waiting for the third time. I had to quickly take action. For a man who is governing a state that is so engulfed in insecurity, to be making reference to IPOP that has been decimated, one thing you cannot take away from the Eastern governors is that they take on IPOP and they take on the terrorist, unknown gunmen, and Eastern Security Network terrorists. They take them on, and every day they are arresting, they are killing, they are decimating those guys. He himself cannot even handle the terrorists and the bandits in his backyard. He's throwing jibes to those persons. A classical case of leaving the wood in your own eye and attempting to remove the speck in your neighbor's eye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zachary. Want to appreciate that. To add to that, Mr. Zachary, in the east, in Imo or so in the east, we hear of Ebibiago. In the west, we hear of Amotekons. In somewhere in Benin State, there's another local vigilante set up by the governor there. These are efforts. Our guys, this governor in Kaduna State should make effort to make sure these things are put to it. It's okay. As we come to the end of this show, we want to ask you to stay safe. You guys stay safe. If you don't have to go out, please stay safe. Don't be a tool in the hands of politicians in this electionary year, and take care of yourself. Bye for now.
Thank you.